buttons are kind of wild when you think about it. I've never just thought about buttons. Like,
Oh, I thought a lot about buttons. Stabby. Stab.
Well,
what, bro?
Okay, hang on. Everybody stop. I want to dig into both of what y'all just said because they're both very interesting to me.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Macrodosing podcast. I am your one and only host, Arian Foster, and I'm with my lovely crew. PF. Nope, he's not here. I'm with my man Billy, Big T, Maddie, Mac. We all chilling. PFT gone. He I think it was Bahamas, Aluga. Where
he's in Baruga.
There you go.
He straight up no-showed. I have to say that was pretty. He can do it. He can do it. But that was
that shit.
Pretty blatant. If I did something like that, I mean, hey.
Right after a week off too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk that shit, Billy.
He's
hold him accountable.
I'm just saying he's drinking a lot of novelty drinks nowadays. You know. I don't know.
What does that mean?
Yeah, I'm fairly well versed in the money game. I know when people are starting to get money, they're starting to hide it. He's having trouble hiding it right now. You know what I'm saying?
Well, he was never good at hiding it.
No, he's getting worse. I'm saying he's getting worse. He's getting worse at hiding that money right now, man. He's in places.
That's what happens.
He's in places I can't even pronounce right now.
You get enough of it, you run out of hiding places.
That's fast.
You only have so many mattresses.
I heard he's not
shoebox money, man. Start busting out the seams. Bro.
Yo, I heard he's going to make an offshore bank account. That's what he's doing.
He probably a good move for him.
He's in Barugula or Arugula, drinking on some whatever. That's crazy.
There's no extradition in Barugula.
I can fit all my money under one twin size mattress. He's got 4 kings and it's spilling out.
Spilling out the sides.
Yeah.
He got to take some shakes. Baby, we gotta take trips. I can't pay taxes on this. That's what it sounds
I know.
like.
And guess what else is available? This Macrodosing hat. Go to store.barstoolsports.com and you can get this Macrodosing hat in not only white, Big T. What else can you get it in?
Navy blue. The navy is my personal favorite.
I like the navy. I like the white. I think they both look amazing. I think they're perfect for different outfits. Let other Macrodosing listeners, Macrodosians, know you're dosing. Get one of these hats. The first Macrodosing hat ever released. Get it while supplies last. They're going fast. Oh my God.
Well, I hope everybody doing good out there. We're gonna have a good show today, regardless of PFT's neglect. But just tapping in, man. How everybody feeling, man?
Good. Just came off a week of vacation. Was pretty awesome. First time off since Christmas, so it's good to get a couple consecutive days in a row.
This was your first consecutive days off since Christmas?
Well, holiday wise, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, I was about to say, didn't we just do it? Just did a podcast, right? I was like, am I tripping?
Yeah, wait, we did.
We also have done a podcast since the break was over.
That's what I said.
It's our first time being back altogether.
I know it feels like it though, Billy.
Yeah.
I know
because Sleepy Joe's on the beach and Mayor Pete's nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, there's not an air traffic controller in the Northeast that's working.
That's facts. Hey, but if we doing that, inflation down to 3%. I'm just saying.
Okay, I mean, that's better than where it was.
The rates aren't though.
I'm just going by the numbers. If we blame Sleepy Joe, we gotta give him his credit. No.
All right, let's go.
Okay, sure, but as your money is getting back to being worth just a little bit less instead of a lot less, you can't get on an airplane.
That's true.
So pick your battles.
See, I was always an advocate of public transit anyway. I believe that we should spend more infrastructure on more tax money infrastructure on public transit. But I'm with you on that with taxes, 1,000%.
The high-speed rail. We want the high-speed rail. Granted, it wouldn't have helped me a ton from Florida to New York, but it can get you from New York to D.C. in I don't know how long. It's normally 4 hours. I'm sure the high-speed rail could do it a lot quicker.
You know, the Great Lakes has a decent train system. You can get from New York City to Minneapolis with a couple stops in between. It's not high speed and it's kind of a roundabout way, but you can still do it.
Are you talking about Amtrak?
Yeah.
Amtrak in the Northeast is really good. That's why I think a lot of coastal elites push for the trains everywhere.
And what happened?
I don't think it's Coastal elites. You said that kind of flippantly. I think
No, I was halfway joking, but it's people who have experienced when you live in New York, you can take the train to Boston, Philly, DC all very easily.
Gotcha.
And once people do that, they want trains everywhere, which I agree. Like having used Amtrak a bunch, having lived here, like it's pretty great.
I agree. I think it's just like the leisurely travel of it. It's more convenient. It's less stress because I still get anxiety when I fly as far as like, is this bitch gonna crash? Even though I know the odds are low, it's still the turbulence fucks with me. I know the turbulence fucks with a lot of people. That the lines at the airport are crazy. Like that, it's just a better option. I'm all for options, right? Let's give the people some options, Sleepy Joe.
Real quick, whatever happened to the Transcontinental Railroad?
I don't know, lace me.
Didn't we build that shit just so we could go across the country in a train?
Several hundred years ago.
Yeah, but what happened? Like, did we just get rid of it?
No,
I'm sure the track still exists somewhere, but
are we using it? Why aren't we using it?
Because we have planes.
What the fuck happened to the Transcontinental Railroad?
I'll keep it. My transcontinental railroad knowledge is limited, but let me do a quick.
What happened?
Golden State. We were going from the Sierra Nevada, I think.
What happened is that you can get from here to California in 4 hours instead of 6 days.
Transcontinental Railroad today.
It was built before the Civil War.
Oh, it's still in operation by the Union Pacific. Yes, the same railroad that built it 150 years ago. So if you know what the first Transcontinental Railroad was, it was in AP US history, and it was a big part of my life that I thought I would have to know about because they taught it in high school. But from what I'm looking, so it went from the Mississippi River and the U.S. Atlantic coast. That was where most of it was, but they first made one from the Pacific Railroad. Okay, so it linked the San Francisco Bay at Alameda, California, with the nation's existing Eastern Railroad network at Council Bluffs, Iowa, Omaha. So that was
the Iowa Nebraska border and went all the way to the Bay Area, basically.
Yeah, so there is a way by train, not high speed, that I think you can get from New York to San Francisco.
I'm sure there is. It would really suck.
Yeah, you have to catch that. Suck is subjective. I think a lot of people. So like my mom and my stepdad, they love riding trains, and I thought they was lame for the longest until I did it. And I think I've spoken about it on this podcast before, but I was in the Northwest and I went from Portland to Seattle, and it's like a, I don't know, 2-3 hour train ride, something like that. And it's just one of the most relaxing things I've ever done. And I've always said I wanted to do one like cross country where we just backpack, but you have to allot for that time. You have to plan for that time to be on a train. And what I like about it is while you're on a train, you can enjoy your time there. You can drink, you can have your little speaker, you can have music, you playing cards, you chilling, playing whatever games you like. You know what I'm saying? You chilling with people you enjoy. You still getting that bonding time, but it's the stress-freeness of the airport and the plane and the turbulence and all of that shit. All that shit is gone. It's a very smooth ride from my experience.
So I'm looking at it right now. You can take a train from Penn Station, Moynihan Train Hall, that's 2 blocks away, to Union Station in Los Angeles, California, and it takes 2 days and 19 hours, but you can do it, and it costs $2,000. So
U.S.
Amtrak is like the train's expensive.
US.
It's more expensive than flights sometimes.
And it has one transfer. So I'm trying to figure out what that transfer is.
Would it be like
Probably
Chicago?
Union Station, Chicago.
Yeah.
So you can do it. You can absolutely do
How
it.
far is
That's
it to
crazy
Chicago?
that they're charging $2,000.
Yeah, that's insane.
Oh, it
To
actually
sit
leaves-
to sit on a train for 3 days.
It leaves in 2 hours.
Even from here to
Shall we?
Buffalo, it's like 8 hours.
Hold on, Billy. I just quick Google search this shit. It said how much does it cost from New York to LA by train? It says minimum price $444. Average ticket price $365. Where are you getting $2,000?
I will say, if you're looking at one that leaves in 2 hours, that's probably going to be
Yeah.
more expensive than if you book it a
'Cause
few
I was
weeks
like,
out.
Trains are hella inexpensive, man. I didn't.
I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why. I'm on this website Wanderoo, so I was pulling up that quickly. So I don't know if it's actually that much. For
I don't think it
$400,
is.
that actually might be decent.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. And I'm telling you, dog, if you got the time, it's really about time. Because my experience, man, money gives you just freedom and it gives you luxury. And so if you got the time and you got the companionship to want to have that time with somebody on the train, get on the train, man.
Can you sit for that? Could you sit for 3 days?
Well, you don't sit for 3 days.
I know. You can get up and, you know.
Well, no. What I'm saying is like, so they'll have like, because you have different stops. That's what takes so long. If it was just a straight shot, it would be way faster, but there's different stops. So you'll stop in different cities. People are coming on and off. So somebody from San Antonio is going to Arizona, whatever the case may be. So there's different stops, like every other state or whatever. And that's the beauty of it. Like you get off and there's like 10, 15-minute rest stops where people are, and that's the beauty. You don't got to go through all this, carry all these lines and shit. You just hop on. I showed up. My plane left like at 8. I showed up at like 7:50. I was in and out, right? But like every stop, you can get off, stretch your legs, throw a ball, whatever the case, have a smoke, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Go inside, get some drinks, come back out, and then y'all back on the train.
But for the most part, you're sitting on a train for 3 days.
But it also, this is where luxury comes into play as well. I got the room. And so it was extremely dope. They have they're small rooms, but it's like there's on 2 separate sides. So it's like this, right? You sit right here, and your legs are facing each other. But then you get to lay those things down, and then it's just a bed. And so you literally could just lay down the whole time.
I just like, I couldn't sit in my apartment for 3 days and not leave. Like if I sit somewhere for more than, 8 to 12 hours, I got to go do something.
I pinned you as a hermit. You're not a hermit. I'm a hermit.
I can sit in my apartment for a while and just like play video games, whatever. But after a day, like if all Saturday, like if I don't leave my apartment on Sunday morning, I'm like, I need to go, get a coffee or something somewhere. Like I have to go do something.
I also feel like your apartment is so small right now that you just get so stir crazy in there.
Damn.
There's nowhere for you to go. No, it's not a
No, that
slight.
is true. I also have
It's not a slight. My apartment's smaller.
I have no windows, so it's like pitch black.
In your whole apartment?
Well, they do, but they face a brick wall that has other people's windows in it, so I had to just put blackout curtains on it because like I was staring at somebody from me to Madeline.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about you in any way try to make friends with that person?
Absolutely not. No, but it's not. No. Hang on. It's not another apartment. So the floor below is some sort of office, and it's literally like from me to Madeline, the building, and they're in like an alley. So it's not like across the street. It's like from me to her. Then the floor above is some sort of weird gutted. It legit looks like somewhere you would take somebody if you had killed them or to kill them. There's a weird like single light, in movies, the little light bulb with the string on it. It's literally that.
So it's vacant commercial.
Yeah, and it looks really creepy. So finally, after a while, I was like, I'm just putting blackout curtains up over all my windows.
So in old New York, if you talk to anyone that lived here in like the 80s, there would be stories like that, but they'd always be like, yeah, there was this like group of girls, like before camera phones, they would be like on the building next to us and they'd like flash us.
I knew you were going to say that.
But that's like, and you're like, no way. That's like, you didn't do that when you were working on Wall Street in the 80s. And they're like, yeah, man, it was sick. Like, the world was so different. And then it's like, cool.
Yeah, flashing has stopped.
Yeah, because
camera doesn't happen anymore.
No one flashes because of the iPhone.
I do think that nakedness is we're desensitized to it for sure.
Like the naked neighbor.
Yeah, the naked neighbor. Yeah, you heard about it.
Yeah.
But that's from Friends.
Yeah.
See, it's like old New York lore.
I feel like it's it's like a New York thing. But like I've also heard that if you don't have a naked neighbor, like you might be the naked neighbor.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
Well, the naked neighbor might not know they're naked in front of you. They might think that they're not seen.
Exactly.
I think I have that issue.
Yeah, me too.
You know what? I might be the naked neighbor.
I think I'm the naked neighbor.
I might be the boxer's neighbor, where I'm letting my dog out into my backyard, and everyone who's can see my garden just sees me in my boxers.
Oh, see, that's different because you're physically outside.
You got a garden?
It's you could call it a garden. You could call
What are you growing?
Weeds, and I pick them.
I don't think that's a garden. Does that constitute a garden? I don't know the.
It's like it's
metrics.
I don't plant anything. It's just an outdoor space that
patio.
Yeah, kind of
backyard.
But then it's just like a little place where I have like a barbecue and I like drink beers when it's nice out, and then my dog takes pisses.
Yeah, patio.
Yeah. Okay.
You're like such a bro.
Yeah.
Like I go outside and drink beers when it's nice outside. What a bro.
Billy is the bro king.
I think so.
Thank you.
Like
I appreciate
Yeah, no,
that.
it's a title I figured you would be honored to have.
I am the bro king.
Yeah.
You really are.
Remember when we were in Tennessee? Like Billy was getting recognized so much more than I ever thought imaginable because he was in the 18 to 22-year-old demo, and they were flocking to him like he was Michael Jackson.
Hannah's old city could not get enough of Billy football.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I try to keep small-minded, so I'm gonna appreciate that, but
What?
keep on doing me.
What is that?
What
Time out. You said
word were you trying to use there? Because it
you
wasn't
trying to
that.
keep small-minded.
I don't know. I just get really scared when I remember that like a lot of people know who I am.
I'm trying to figure out where he was going. I see.
think humble.
Like humble?
I think he's trying to say. Yeah, maybe he's trying to. Is that it?
Yeah.
Humble. He's
Small-minded
trying to
is
say
an insult.
Well, whatever. Humbling,
Self-inflicted.
self-inflicting. Yeah. But cool.
The bro king, as I said.
the bro king. I remember we was outside of the library, and like a couple people recognize us as me or whatever, and like we was taking pictures, and like in the distance, all you hear is like, "Oh my god, bro!" Y'all remember that shit? And like dudes come running. It's like, "We saw you were here. We tweeted. We ran all the way from I don't know some building."
Dude,
and I was like, "Yo, that's brazen."
Some dude gave me like 100-yard head start on a chest bump, and I had to wear that one. I just got the wind knocked out of me, but trying to keep it together. That was pretty dope. Shout out those bros in Tennessee.
Arian, you have a really good white guy voice.
I was gonna ask to have it done again.
I gotta go. I mean, I was fluid in white dude. I be around a lot of white people, man. So I understand y'all. I get it. So I mimic it well. I wanna maybe like you know what I'm saying like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I want that though. You know what I'm saying like yeah, but yeah.
The dap
Hold on,
wouldn't
my
be that
bad.
clean.
Yes. Yeah, the dap would be.
The dap would.
Yeah. What else is going on in the news today? I seen, inflation's down. Shout out Sleepy Joe. What else is going on, man? I've been so tapped out of the news in general that I haven't paid attention to anything, man. I've been hella vibey in my own little lane.
The news has been pretty like politically like stories that piss off one side or the other lately, because I think there's not much real news. So like, did you see that Spanish climate minister who took a private jet to the climate conference?
All time.
Took a limo and then hopped out the limo and got into a bike and biked the rest of the way while being accompanied by a vehicle
All
that she could have
time.
ridden in, just to seem more climate aware and reduce her
optics.
footprint. Yeah,
It's all about optics, man.
yeah, but it's disgusting.
How would you have him arrive?
Well, just show up in the car that you were in instead of getting on your bike for a block.
And just make it a hybrid or an electric vehicle. Like, that's the least you can do when you're financing your fleet of vehicles that you're using to move around.
They low key. I forget. There was a study put out a while ago. It's been a minute though, but the carbon footprint of a electric vehicle is not much better than a gas vehicle. It's not. From my recollection, I think it is in the long run. Overall, it is better, but I don't think it's an insurmountable amount. And I think they know that. But
Yeah.
I think people that push policy are not. They're aware of all of these things, and they're trying to tackle big policy issues, which would happen like in the industry, globally, not like people taking a car to work and shit like that.
Yeah. But if they, and I'm sorry, I'm about to use this word, but if they switch the electrical grid to nuclear,
Good. That was good.
Yeah, that was
nuclear,
Uh-huh.
it's like Everclear, but
Right.
nuclear,
However you got to do it, man. We're on your team.
nuclear, then it would actually have a much bigger reduction. But our energy grid still relies so much on fossil fuels that, and also turns out lithium mining is like terrible.
Yeah, it's damn near slave labor.
Like wasn't Francis Ngannou a lithium miner, or am I making that up? I think he was a
have no
miner of
idea.
some sort before he like got to Europe. He's also fighting Tyson Fury, which I'm now convincing myself he might win, even though there's absolutely zero shot.
What a pivot.
Yeah.
We're going to change to celebrity boxing match.
Well, Francis Ngannou, MMA guy, huge punch power. He's the guy in the new Jackass that punched. Who'd he punch in the dick?
No clue.
He punched a dude in the dick, and he like rated his punches like one of the hardest punches ever recorded by this punch rating machine. But
Sick.
yeah,
Bro King.
but Tyson Fury, Gypsy King, just has been boxing his whole life and has so much better defensive movement that he's never gonna get hit. So we'll see what happens.
Speaking of movies, are we all going to see Barbie and Oppenheimer next week?
Yes.
Should we make that a thing we do? Because I don't have any plans.
I got my tickets to Oppenheimer last night. I'm very excited.
I'm so excited.
So how are you guys doing the double feature? What are you hitting first? And
What's your schedule, Big T?
I talked to my girlfriend about whether we should do the double feature. We both agreed that was a bit much for one day. So we're seeing Oppenheimer on Friday,
I'm doing the double feature.
and then we'll see Barbie at some point soon.
and this man says he can't sit down for a long time.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like Oppenheimer's 3 hours. Then
Ooh.
you want to tack another movie onto that. Also, I want to feel Oppenheimer. Like when that shit blows, I don't want to be coming off that experience and be like, okay, we're going to see Barbie now.
I'm surprised you're into seeing Barbie.
I don't think I'd go alone.
It's just the event. It's the event of the summer.
No, but in a
Totally.
in a couple situation, it's a
Sell me.
trade-off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Oppenheimer.
compromise.
Yeah,
for Barbie.
I can deal with seeing Barbie as long as I get to see Oppenheimer.
Sell
The
me,
thing-
sell me on Barbie. I'm single right now, so sell me on going to see Barbie because I have zero interest in seeing it. So sell me. Go ahead.
Margot Robbie is Barbie.
I don't know
One.
who that is.
She was Wolf of Wall
Whoa!
Street's wife.
Stop! Stop!
Oh, what?
Hang on. Are you being dead serious right now?
Y'all know I'm shit with celebrity names. Maddie, man, for you too, Big T. You know I'm. shit with
She is
celebrity
No,
names.
she's like the celebrity.
No cap. Maybe the hottest woman on the planet.
Look her up.
Wolf of Wall Street's wife.
I'm sure I won't.
Yeah, the wife in Wolf of Wall
do,
Street.
you, do you remember?
What's her name?
Margot.
Margot Robbie.
Margot.
Robbie.
Margot Robbie.
The scene when she's in the nursery and then Leo makes her know she's on film.
Oh, she was Harley Quinn.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay, I've seen her before. Hottest woman on earth is a hell no.
I said maybe. Top
Not-
5 to 10 for sure.
That's-
She has
that's
those-
it's culture preferential thing. Won't even make my top 20.
No, she has those crazy
That's gross,
eyes
that's
that
gross,
almost
that's
make you avoid
That's
because you're
gross
like, this. She's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's crazy hot that's scary.
Like they're so hot, it's terrifying a little
Like,
bit.
like this person has probably gotten away with terrible things because they're so hot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
But yeah, so she's Barbie.
okay. Still not sold. Give me more.
Ryan Gosling. Do you know who he is from The Notebook?
What do you want?
Yeah.
He is Ken. And
That's a great. Hey, on time out. The Notebook.
great
bro,
movie.
Listen, for all the dude bros out there who be like, oh, see the Notebook, my girl. Listen, that is a fan-fucking-tastic movie, dog. I cried. I absolutely shed tears when I watched the movie. It was fucking sad, dog. It was amazingly when that. I don't want to spoil it.
It's been out like 20 years.
Yeah, after
Okay.
10 years, you can say whatever.
When I figured out at the end that it was that nigga coming back every single day, I was like, oh my God, sign me up for that love. Sign me up for that love. It doesn't exist, but sign me the fuck up for that love. You know what I'm
it can
saying?
exist.
Okay, no, it's not. It's just not real. See, my problem in general with love is that it's been marketed to us for centuries, and it doesn't deal with the nuances and the complexities of actual day-to-day life. And it's just you have an idea, and so you chase the idea rather than actually dealing with the emotions that you have and the complexity of the emotions that you have. Right? Perfect example is when I was talking about the strip club thing. Y'all was like, fuck that shit, strip club. I ain't taking my girl to strip club. Blah, blah, blah. The complexity of those emotions you have to deal with, that you still find other people sexy, but this is what home is. That's what I'm saying. It's because we have been marketed to, but let's be on the point. Sell me on the Barbie thing, man.
So
It's
yeah,
not marketing. There's
It's 1,000% marketing.
It's not
Where did your idea of love come from? Where did it come from?
My parents?
probably family first. That was my first
Okay.
influence.
Okay. Where else?
Okay, movies. Okay. We get
Boy
it.
Meets World.
I'm telling you, like it has 1,000% been marketed and advertised to us about what it's supposed to. The fact that you want to get married, that is also advertising. Think about the diamond industry and how much of billions of dollars they
That
spend
I
on
agree with.
advertising because you're supposed to spend a certain amount of paycheck, billions of dollars of advertising revenue that the diamond companies spend on giving a certain amount of money from your paycheck to the wedding ring of whatever girl or whatever the case may be. All of that shit, the movies, the stories that have been written over time, the Romeo and Juliet since back then. It's been marketed to us about what love is supposed to be because the beautiful thing about art, which I love, right? I'm gonna get off my tangent after this. But the beautiful thing I love about art is um it takes the emotions that we have and it puts it into a form that can be interpreted by us, right? Whether it be painting, whether it be music, whether it be whatever the case may be. And it's usually the highlights. And the lowlights are fun too, and we can relate to, but the highlights are what we aspire to, right? That becomes the goal. I want to get to that, but it's just most of the time not realistic. So when I say I want that notebook love, yeah, you're gonna find hard pressed maybe 1% of the population that's gonna keep coming back every day if you don't if you're unrecognizable. 9 times out of 10, that dude gonna have a side chick that's been waiting in the wing for a minute that he gonna hop on. This is what it is.
I think there is an element of companionship that is part like if you're actually like friends with the person, there's like a sort of companionship that sort of ensures the monogamy.
Sure.
Or in an empathy type thing.
I think that's the idea. Yeah, I think it's ideal. I think it's ideal. Absolutely. I think that is ideal. And I think that's what we all aspire to. We all have that. I have that. I want that love. I just don't think it's a thing. I aspire to it. Absolutely. And I am jaded by my experiences, just like you're jaded by your experiences, right? But for my experiences, that's what I see. But I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. But continue to sell me. You got Ryan Gosling, Robbie Goldberg, what's her name? Merlot.
You know, I'm actually gonna
Margot
have to
Robbie.
argue with you. I'm looking up some
Stood.
stuff that like a lot of the stuff that we've been sold and you say are being sold predate commercialization. So like for example, the wedding ring is the basis of it is ancient Rome and Greece and even the Viking times. And part of it was like rolling up to another village to like marry the chieftain's daughter, and you like bring a bunch of jewels if you're like a warlord, and then you trade the jewels for the wife, and then the father of the bride gives one of the jewels to the daughter that's getting married off. So that's not really commercial.
That's not really love, though, is it? That's forced marriage.
True.
That's a horrible argument.
That's actually a terrible argument. But I'm like reading about the origins of the wedding ring, and that's like
No, I was talking about the commercialization of love and the advertisement of love. It's been love stories, romance novels, the diamond industry, Valentine's Day, that kind of stuff. The things that have been commercialized around love have been it kind of like it marketed to us in a way that's palatable, but also it enhanced our desires in a way that I think are unrealistic, right? So it's like, for example, like when Maddie was talking about like she feels a certain way if a dude look at another female, booty or in front of her, something like that. I don't even know if that's the word she used, right? But it has nothing to do with Maddie. That's just a mindset that permeates throughout our culture. Is like when you're with me, and you only have eyes for me. That's part of what's been marketed to us through songs, through movie, through everything. But it's just not realistic. It's just not realistic.
I'd argue that is more that possessive nature is nature. That's like not something that's marketed. It's like innate.
The jealousy. I would agree. The jealousy is nature. What I wouldn't agree is that the desire to have one person for the rest of life is nature. I don't think that's natural at all. I think there are absolutely going to be exceptions to the rule, but I think for the majority of the part, if you really are looking at the same woman now that you look at it when you're 50 and 60 years old and never had eyes for any other woman in your child, I would say you were lying. I don't think there's anything wrong with that though. But I think you would probably think there's something wrong with that, and the larger part of society would think there's something wrong with that of you being like. I think even in the Bible it says, if you lust after a woman in your mind, that's like a sin or something, right? Like lustful thoughts are a sin or something like that. And that's fucking crazy to me. Like that's.
But I think, of course, you're gonna have lustful thoughts and view other people, but acting on those urges is like it's not that crazy to never act on those urges.
No, I didn't say that. That's what I said. Right. So monogamy is not something to be like. I think we all aspire for monogamy for sure. I just don't think the boundaries that we place on relationships are realistic in our society, especially given this internet boom, where everything is microwaved, where it's like love was proximal back in our parents' days and their parents' days. It was proximal. So you fell in love with the people that you came in contact with, right? Now you're so much more aware of there's something better. And odds are there probably is. And not necessarily better, but something that is more compatible with you.
Now, I actually had a different type of argument about this. Because of the internet, monogamy is actually not easier, but is harder to work towards, whereas sleeping around and because the conquest of a woman, quote unquote, and like having multiple conquests is now so much easier nowadays, just because of women can have multiple, like it's more accepted, that it's almost
he started to go down a real road there and didn't exactly veer off it.
No, I think he still don't think he knows. Go ahead, Billy, cook.
What did I say?
Just cook. Just keep cooking. Keep cooking.
But the whole thing about like the batch, like sowing your wild oats at a young age and like sleeping around with tons of people, like is almost the norm nowadays. That monogamy is almost seen to be like more of something to work towards, and almost more like Frank Sinatra sleeping around with tons of women was really rare in the 30s, and everyone was like, wow, look at this ladies man, like I want to be like him one day. But like now.
But see, this is where the marketing, I think, has gotten to you and to people in general, is that wasn't that rare. It was very prevalent for dudes to have like a separate family. Like that shit happened all the time. Like dudes was always tipping off on their wives. What wasn't necessarily, I think, prevalent was for women to have a voice or a say, and so their voice got trampled a lot back in those days, where nowadays they're saying, I don't want to take that shit. Some of them are saying, I don't want to be locked down. Like, and so that's the bigger part, I think you're trying to.
Right. But the second part of that argument I was trying to say is that because of social media, it's harder to sleep around and get away with it because there's so many more lines of communication. Like now
no, I mean shit. I done got caught up before. Right? It is what it is. Yeah, yeah. So back in my younger days, when I was an unfaithful man, I got caught up. It happens. But
I think running into that makes people more aware that you can't really fuck around and get away with it anymore because there's so many, and that even impacts people who are single and are just sleeping with different people around town.
Yeah, but also I think it makes people less eager to get into a relationship, because it's like you said, all of the pitfalls that come with being in a relationship and getting caught, and plus all the temptation out there.
But right,
so there's so much temptation.
No, but the deterrent, I think, is almost bigger because it's so much easier to get caught. Like, for example, you wouldn't commit a crime that is very easy to be found out for. So you're in like
high risk, high reward. I think that's apples and oranges. I don't think anybody won't get into a relationship because they're like, chances are I'll get caught cheating. I don't think that's.
Or if they're in a relationship, they won't cheat because there's a very high probability they get caught in today's age.
Yeah, but I don't think that. Wait, are you saying that the probability of getting caught is higher, and that is the deterrent for not getting in a relationship?
No, for keeping people monogamous.
See, that's the thing though. If that's what's keeping you from being monogamous,
Right,
then
right,
why
but-
are you in a relationship?
No, but just on top of, like when you're when the two wolves or the devil and the angel on your shoulder are debating stuff, like what the devil, is saying can easily be negated just by like rationality of that fact, as opposed to
But
these marketed ideals that you are saying are
But
just
that goes to my point.
commercialized.
That goes to my point. My point is that monogamy itself is not the most natural thing. Like I said, there are exceptions where people are just lovebirds and they just gonna die together, and that's what's beautiful, right? And I think that's what we aspire. That's what we write love songs about, whoop de whoop. But I just don't think it's the most natural and realistic thing. And so my point, which you just made, is if I'm having these desires to cheat and my motivation to not cheat is I might get caught rather than I don't want to hurt my partner.
Right, but
then
that
you should not be in that relationship.
but and I agree with you. Like, I don't want to hurt my partner is probably the top one. But when talking about social media's
There's
application, yeah, when talking about social media's application to being detrimental to monogamy, I think it also has, a security system, if you will, that like can argue that social media actually, contains it.
So you're saying social media helps the non-cheating partner be detective.
Yeah, if you will. I mean, but I'm not saying that's the only reason. I'm just saying like social media has its, deterrence and provocations.
I mean, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. Don't get me wrong. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I just don't think. I don't know. Monogamy itself, I have a hard time getting convinced that it's a natural thing. And when I say natural, meaning we don't have to fight a desire, right? It's very natural to breathe. I don't have to fight to not breathe, right? That's very natural.
So
What is being hungry? Very natural.
So would you argue polygamy is natural?
I wouldn't say polygamy, because I think polygamy gets a bad rap in the sense of they think it's just everybody fucking everybody. Polygamy has rules, it has boundaries, it has it has different, social dynamics that I've never been involved in, but I've been in conversations with people who are. And it's not just cut and dry, like you get to fuck whoever you want, I get to fuck whoever I want. It's not what it is.
Right. But in most of those systems, it's, as Future says, he has a collection where it's like a harem, if you will. And usually in those systems, it's extremely misogynist, and it's usually multiple women, one man. Do you think that is if there is a system, if there is some natural order of things, would it be something like that? Like, are we going to look at, family structures of certain other animals that are quote unquote natural, because monogamy and polygamy both exist in nature? So does homosexuality. So does so many other things that are in the natural order of humans. So what would we consider the natural way of things?
I think when you look at like the animal kingdom, right? I believe that we are animals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a hierarchy involved as far as like efficiency, stuff like that. I believe how we have evolved is very communal, and I think at first, it was beneficial to breed just like any other animal, and so we were breeding. I don't think there was much monogamy involved in our origins. I think there may have been pockets. And I honestly, this is actually a really dark part of our like history, but I think there was a lot of rape involved in our origins. And so I think that's where misogyny stems from. Misogyny stems from like the natural order of things is whoever carries the bigger stick, that's how we going. That's how we rocking. Those are the rules. You know what I'm saying? I break the rules, I will do whatever. But I think as we evolved, we found agriculture, culture, stuff like that. And we have found ways to develop and communicate in which a lot of animals have not, obviously. And so, long story short, I think it is efficient for some people to be monogamous. I think it's inefficient for some people to be monogamous. And I think the data points to that as well. The high rate of divorce shows that. The high rates of domestic violence, all these things show that we're not the emotionally stable creatures that we pretend to be, and it's still very complicated. And I think you should not enter into these things. And me being a perfect example of that, right? I don't have no perfect past, but this is why I'm single right now, is because I understand I have a lot of emotional things to work through, and part of that is jealousy. Part of that is, self awareness, like all of these things. And I think as we develop that in a higher sense, we start to understand what's better for ourselves. And I aspire and I want a monogamous relationship. But I know I cannot fulfill my end of the bargain. My last two relationships I did. On one of them they didn't, right? And that jaded me, right? And so it's just it's a complicated cauldron of emotions that I think we're all just kind of sorting out. But I think monogamy in general in this society is a very rare thing. I don't think it's as prevalent as we think it is. We'd like to think it is, because a lot of this is anecdotal. I know a lot of married women out here wilding. I know a lot of married dudes out here wilding, and it's just, what is the point? I'm seen as like the crazy, middle-aged single cat, but I'm like, all right.
But you think you're more? You're real.
Huh?
You're being more real.
I don't want to put real in that. I'm being a truer sense of myself, that I know that I can be honorable, right? Because when I was younger, I was trying to fulfill a role in which I thought that myself and society wanted me to fulfill, right? And I was not emotionally able to fulfill that role. And then when I got to the point where I was able to understand what I was able to, if I'm going to say something, I should be able to fulfill that, then I should stop putting all of these expectations on myself, right? I just be single, right? And so my last two relationships, I didn't cheat, but I was unable to fulfill a lot of the roles emotionally, right? Like when you come home, for example, like when you come home and you just checked out, right? Like, it's like emotionally neglectful to be like, I don't feel like dealing with nothing. I don't care what's going on with you right now. Like, I got my own shit. I had to understand that was negatively affecting somebody else. You know what I mean? And so, like, when you're in a relationship, if I don't got 20, like, you got to meet me 80. And I was no longer willing to have that tug of war. You know what I mean? I was no longer willing. And I understood that. And so physically, emotionally, all that stuff, it's not about me being real or not. It's just me finally understanding what I was able to give in a relationship. And I'm not able to give until I feel like I'm in a better place emotionally.
So now, with that being like some people monogamy is preferred, some people you're unable to, give in those positions and do the whole tug of war. How does that, now I don't want this to sound generalized and not too personal, but like, does that mean that in any relationship there's also that tug of war? Because in relationships with your parents, your brothers,
absolutely,
sisters, family, friends, like, there is that same tug of war. But
1,000%.
At the end of the day, like, friends, you can, lose path, like, you can cut off, but like family, you can also cut off, but like, you're still maintaining relationships every day. Like,
I think it's easier to set boundaries with people you don't share the same space with. You know what I mean? So if we're living in the same house, our boundaries have to be metaphorical. You know what I mean? Our boundaries aren't physical, because like we share the same space. And so like when I got a friend who is constantly asking me for money or something like that, I could tell him, hey, listen, when you do this, it makes me feel like this, and it makes me feel like you don't value this. And you know what I'm saying? That's a boundary I'm setting for that. When you ask me for something, I cannot give you that. Or I feel like that is, our friendship should not be contingent on that, right? That's a boundary that I set, right? But when we in the same household, like, a lot of the boundaries are different. The boundaries are real. The boundaries could be like, yo, I cannot stand when you leave towels in the bathroom. Like that shit bothers the fuck out of me. And it might not end your relationship, but that could lead to I don't like the towels. I don't like how you leave the dishes out. I don't like how you try to wake me up, in the morning. I don't like, and the list adds on to the point. I was like, I can't take this shit anymore. You know what I mean? And those are the boundaries that are harder to set when you're occupying the same space. When you're not in the same space, it's easier to set those boundaries. And most of the time, if you have a good friend who's halfway emotionally aware, they'll respect those boundaries. They'll be like, all right, you know what? I understand. But when you're in the same space, there's little wars that go on all day long. And you have to, it's a give and take. My stepdad says this shit because he's a little more old school than I am, right? I'm a little more like therapy. Like I use a lot of therapy words and like, yeah, I've been through a lot of therapy. So, but my stepdad would be like 80-20. I was like, what's that mean? What's that mean, man? He goes 80-20. He's like, you got to draw the line. You got to be 80% of the shit that you're willing to take, 20% that you're not. He's like, you got to draw that line. I was like, that's fair for his age. Like there's some shit you got to be able to take, some shit that you can't. Which is in a sense is boundary.
Well, so Barbie and Ken will probably not work out in the long run, according to Arian Foster.
No, man. Hope they work it out, man.
That was a hard left from Barbie.
But I do think you should see Barbie, Arian.
It would be really funny if there's a scene and they it's like what's it rated?
I think PG-13.
PG gotta be.
It would be really funny if
it probably is PG-13.
They take their clothes off and they're like the dolls. They're smooth. That'd be funny.
Oh, I bet
shit happened
it's PG-13.
That shit happened on Black Mirror, actually.
Don't tell me.
No, not on the new one. It's not the new one.
I've literally got plans to watch it tonight.
It's not the new one. It's the old one.
Okay.
The old one with Starfleet.
Oh yeah.
When he's like trapped in his little game. Yeah. They don't have any private parts, and he just slaps it. Same shit.
Have you watched all the new ones?
No, I haven't watched any.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, and I'm actually.
I want to talk about it, but
yeah,
I thought you were excited. I guess not.
All right. Nah, I've really been tapped out, man. I've been doing so much golf, and like it's summertime, so I got my kids a lot, so I've been doing like daddy shit. You know what I'm saying? Like swimming and this. I got a vacation place. Like a lot of daddy shit.
You're sounding a little.
Wash?
Can't stop playing golf.
Swimming?
I'm washed. I've been washed.
No. Well,
1,000% washed.
Well, washed in a sense. Well, me and you.
Oh, you saying white? You saying I sound white?
A little.
Hey, man. There's not a lot of shit to do nowadays. You know what I'm saying? You go golf. You know what I'm saying? I ain't into the club scene no more. It's just not a lot of shit to do, man. You know what I mean?
America's coming.
Golfing is fun.
Gonna be one
eventually.
After a while.
That's why they say class and race is highly interwoven. But that's a topic for another conversation.
Are you gonna see Oppenheimer though?
I hadn't planned on it. But if y'all hyping it, I'm
supposed
down.
to be sick.
Okay,
like that.
It's supposed to rain this weekend, so
they come out next weekend.
Never mind. Well, this weekend it's supposed to rain in the Northeast, so good time to watch Black Mirror. We're all gonna watch it by the time the nanodose comes around, and maybe we'll talk about it.
No, I thought we was doing the Bible thing on the nanodose, man.
Well, now PFT's go. Who knows when he's coming back?
He's
shambles. Macrodosing is in shambles right now.
No, it's not. We are
We'll do it. We'll do it on Monday, regardless of who's here.
Yeah.
The Bible jump.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he's gonna miss Genesis, the origins.
Yeah,
he might be back. I don't know. We don't know. He's off on his.
Big T and I will be talking about Black Mirror.
But we are our episode topics. We have 3 good ones coming up that we all really want to do, but they got kind of thrown out of whack because we didn't know PFT was going to be gone this week. So we're doing the Chemtrails thing today. American Revolution. We want to do Oppenheimer, and then potentially Boston Marathon. Even though Arian has pushed back on that, saying it's boring. But I promise, if you look into it, they had a shootout in the middle of a residential neighborhood looking for these dudes. It's crazy.
I've been getting some crazy DMs. We have a lot of Boston-based bros who were around the age of some of these guys, and I have some firsthand accounts of the brothers.
Arian,
that are
I
pretty
promise
insane.
we've done some boring stories on this show. This is not boring.
Okay. I mean, I'm open. I just all right. I haven't looked into it. And what was the most boring topic?
Oh, I'd have to go back and look, but we've
Off the
had
top.
some.
I
I mean,
have-
listen, you
I
do
can think
I
of one
have
off the
one.
top of
you
my
do
head.
several
Go
hundred
have one.
episodes of a show, like you're gonna have some duds.
Yeah.
Arian and
No.
I think have the same exact.
I
one.
gotta
No.
go back and look.
What's yours, Maddie? What's yours?
Everybody say the worst episode right now.
Microplastics.
Bro,
We love Chief.
We
No.
love
Chief is very good, a
No.
great dude.
That was
He's probably gonna
interesting.
have.
Holy
He'll probably
shit.
be on this show again in Chicago.
Microplastics is probably a source of like a tons of mental health issues across the country.
boring. You're not wrong, but
Yeah.
boy, that shit was boring.
Right.
I was
right.
on the show. I was on the show like, hey, yo, we got to crack a
got-
joke or somebody. I don't stop making fun of the dude, right? Because it was
I
boring.
love Chief and Dante was on too. I love both of them.
It helped build our podcast. We got some Barstool Chicago listeners. They're a great group of guys. There's some big stuff
Everybody
coming
say-
down the.
It's nothing
It
against
Pipeline.
them.
had nothing to do with them.
It was just our worst
I'm pretty
episode.
sure we've had another bad episode that maybe nobody was on. Like, if you podcast 2 times a week for 3+ years, you're gonna have some days where it's like work. You know what I'm saying? You have some bad days, man. You have
Yeah.
some. It is what it is, right? And I'm sure the viewers agree that some episodes are good for them, some are not. Microplastics was bad for me though. That shit was. That shit was
I
hard.
knew you were gonna say the same thing.
That shit was hard, dog.
What
What's-
was yours,
what's yours?
BT?
Yeah,
I'm going through them right now. I'm in October of 2021. There's a couple that like have had guests, and I don't want to disrespect the guests. We're appreciative of anyone that wants to come on this show, but some are better
We
than others.
shouldn't just shit on our own show on our show.
I mean,
It's
we're
better
just
than it's us. It's better us doing it than other people.
Yeah, no, we admit our
Nah.
faults. The worst
That's
ones.
being honest. If you think we put out all bangers and it's just nonstop amazing content, you're lying.
I don't remember. We did one about credit. Was that interesting at all?
That's-
I think it was more informative.
That's when you and I, you were like, I don't have a credit card. I don't have a credit score.
No, I
No,
do.
that was
I have
me.
a great
That was
credit
me.
score.
Oh,
I
that's
don't
Billy.
Oh,
have
let me
Sorry.
tell you my credit score nowadays, guys. Oh,
I
let me
have
tell
a
you.
great
What is
credit score because I don't have credit cards.
Let me, and I got a big boy credit card too. Yeah,
Ooh,
And
talk that credit shit, Bill.
yeah. I pay my bills. Yeah, that's actually a huge flex.
Yeah.
But it's $785.
That's really good, Billy.
Shit.
Hell yeah.
It was not that during the time of that filming.
I
though.
think Billy's was zero
It
during
was
the time
zero.
of filming.
I didn't have a credit.
Anything else you're finding in there?
Well, now I got to go on Experian and see. Mine's right around there, but it's got to be higher than Billy's. I have to have it be higher.
Yeah,
Damn. Okay, hold on.
you.
Let's do a
I know
bet.
you have the
Wanna
highest.
bet?
I know you have the highest.
Yeah, mine's.
Wait, what
mine's
was yours?
big.
785.
Oh damn, mine's 721.
I think mine's 720 something. Yeah.
Oh man.
It's
This
just
is
because I
a
don't spend my money
highbrow
on anything.
Podcast.
Yeah, actually, I once had really bad
know.
credit. There was a
I
time.
know
had,
when I was coming out of college, it was in the 500s.
Yeah.
It was in the 500s, but it's because there's some project shit. My mother, I don't know if y'all can relate to any of this, probably not though, but I know there's some listeners that can. My mother and my father, bless their hearts, love them to death. When we was growing up, they put a phone bill and I think a cable bill in my name when we was growing up, because they shit was so fucked up. So they put it in my name, and that went delinquent. And so I had that shit on my credit score when I came out of college, unbeknownst to me. And so my money manager calls me when I first get into the league, and he goes, "Hey, yo, what is MCI?" I was like, "MCI." I was like, "I have no idea." He's like, "Why is MCI on your credit?" I was like, "Dog, I don't know what MCI is, but I have no idea." He's like, "It's a phone bill from like '94 or something." I was like, "I gotta be moms and dads, bro. Like, there's no way." This is like, y'all probably don't know nothing about this, but this happens all the time in the black community where like niggas put phone bills in their kids' names. But
No, that actually
shout out to them. Hey, shout out to y'all. Do what y'all gotta do.
Billy,
man.
what'd you say yours was?
785.
Fuck. 776.
Oh,
Damn.
wow.
Well, I just
There's
make
like
sure.
3 different ones though, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, Experian is the main one.
But I
Well-
just don't spend money.
Well,
But
it's not conducive to a good credit score. Just paying your bills and paying your credit card off.
yeah. Sorry to flex on all of you with credit issues. Please check our credit. Please check our credit podcast. Arian does a great job explaining how to get your credit score up.
The scores change. You can raise it.
Yeah. It's just because you have bad credit now doesn't mean you have to have bad credit forever.
Pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
We should try to
and
get
it
Dave
done.
Ramsey on this show.
Who's that?
Oh my god!
the goat.
Didn't he just get like?
I
In
actually
trouble
think
or
he is
something?
being sued for something right
Yeah.
now.
You guys-
I saw a headline. I didn't. It was he was promoting some sort of company that was fraudulent or something.
yeah. I forget.
Outstanding TikToks though. Some of the people that call into Dave Ramsey.
Oh, it's that guy?
Mhm.
Oh, I love his
Big
TikToks.
big UT fan.
Oh,
I love his TikToks.
Yeah, he came and talked to us one time.
Is
Really?
he the old bald dude?
Yeah, I don't,
Yep. With the goatee.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
like, kind of sounds like that.
Yeah. Not all of his ideas are
Yo,
like
what?
amazing, but for the most part, he has some good plans.
He's always yelling some shit.
Yeah, he's being sued for $150 million for promoting a company accused of fraud.
Yeah.
What's the company?
Claims Ramsey received more than $30 million between 2015 to 2021 to promote Timeshare Exit Team on the Ramsey Show. The Washington State-based company, which now operates as Reed Hine and Associates, allegedly promised to help customers terminate their timeshare contracts, which are notoriously difficult to exit.
Dave Ramsey's not the bald old guy I was thinking of. There's another
He's
one
definitely a bald
who
old
looks
though.
a little scarier, and he wears like a monocle.
Are you talking about the guy? I know who he's talking about. I don't know what his name is.
Yeah.
But
Is it
he's
the
on
funny dude
TikTok and
Fox?
he's like,
Yeah.
Okay, no.
he's like, if you knew who started Bitcoin, you would sell it as fast as you can. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what his name is.
He's
but
a big like
Is it Gary V?
Huh?
Gary V?
No.
No,
This
This guy's scary.
also
Sort
that
of
guy's
like-
not bald.
He's probably got a little hair.
I think he has a lot of hair.
No, that's no,
I saw him today. He came up
No,
on my
no.
TikTok today.
this guy's like old, and he looks like kind of like a fatter Mr. Burns. But
Anyway.
Also, my credit score's 762. That's pretty good.
Oh,
Nice.
It's good stuff.
damn.
Okay.
Okay.
Good credit
Wow.
scores. Look
We're-
at us.
we're-
I'm embarrassed of mine now.
What's it start with?
7.
Man, it's good.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
We're just flexing on, we're just really showing our privilege right now. I'm sorry. That this is
Doesn't mean
probably-
I'm rich.
This probably sounds really douchey to some people.
Does not mean I am rich.
But Tucker Carlson had Andrew Tate on for an interview.
Tell me you listen to
Literally.
that shit.
He was
I-
listening to it when I came into
I
the
wanted
studio.
I wanted to see. I watched it, so you guys didn't.
Perfect. Give us the synopsis.
Right,
'cause
why
I damn
would
sure ain't
anyone-
watching that shit.
So Andrew Tate basically says that the reason he's being held under house arrest, was imprisoned, is because they're classifying. So this is what he said: they're classifying him, taking in charge of the financials of his quote unquote friends' TikTok accounts is human trafficking. Which sounds like a roundabout way of he's like managing these girls' TikToks who he claims are his friends but are probably his employees. And like, if you think about it, by him classifying them as friends, he probably transported those women to Romania in order to be his employees, and then he handled the financials of their TikToks. And I think there's a roundabout way you can classify that as human trafficking.
Okay.
But that's his claims. But also, he says that the women are his friends and are saying they're not victims. But apparently, under human trafficking laws, like, they can, even if the victim says they're not victims, they can still press the charges. I don't know if any of that's true. That's just what I saw in the interview.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I don't know nor care enough to dig into that case. I've heard enough of his shit to where I'm like, I'm cool off. I know I follow this one dude on on YouTube that does a lot of like deep dives, like video essays kind of. And he did one on Andrew Tate. And so he did one. Actually, it was what is his name? he breaks down and he like uncovers like crypto scams.
Vsauce.
No.
Oh, he's the
no,
one who
what?
got Jake Paul.
Yes,
Yeah.
Spinzilla or
Yeah.
whatever. Like he's fucking fire, dog. I
Yeah.
recommend him. I don't know his exact name. I don't think it's Spinzilla or something. But so he actually subscribed to his Hustlers University thing. He actually did it. And long story short, I guess basically what it is it's just like a same shit. They give you like access to like some Discord, which is like quote unquote teachers of like how to get money, how to invest, and move. He's like, it's all a bunch of bullshit. But like I said, I didn't. And a lot of the stuff he says, like the hyper masculinity, toxic masculine shit that he says, is like marketing for it, and they prey on like dudes with not a lot of guidance, and it makes sense for them, and dudes that feel left out, and dudes that feel this and feel
Incels.
that. Something
So
like that.
the
Not just
YouTuber's
incels, but
Coffeezilla. I just pulled him up.
Coffeezilla, yeah, there you go.
Coffeezilla,
Coffee.
yeah.
Yeah. He does a fantastic job of breaking a lot of like crypto stuff down. He's taken a lot of like scams down, like literally court, like took it like
Yeah.
they take his investigation and goes to court, like that type shit. He does a really good job of breaking that shit down. But anyway, like so I don't know enough about Buddy, and I don't really care enough about. But from what I've heard, that sounds like bullshit. Because I heard, and I could be wrong because I haven't done enough research on it. But I've heard like he was. I don't even want to get into it because I haven't. You know what I'm saying?
I watched that video more that Andrew Tate's got basically a pyramid scheme to promote him, which I don't know if it's illegal, but Coffeezilla, come on the podcast, please tell us where we're missing.
That'd be a fire one to get. He's good.
Crazy story. A Russian military guy got assassinated, and they used his jogging. He those jogging apps that post your runs,
Like Strava.
Strava. Yeah, he got assassinated because he had his runs on Strava.
And they tracked him?
Yeah, the Ukraine. Yeah, he got popped.
Oh my god.
That's wild.
So hold on. He has an app on like I'm assuming his watch or his phone
Yeah.
that tracks his movement when he's jogging
Yeah,
Yeah.
Strava.
live.
After it's done.
After it's done, but then if you can see if
It's
they're
a
taking.
routine.
So
He has a routine.
yeah.
What a dummy.
Yeah, so Strava. So and it's really funny because on Strava, so it was a Russian submarine commander. He was assassinated on his run, and one of the people who liked the post was the chief of intelligence of Ukraine, which is just wild.
That's funny as shit, actually. Just scrolling on his timeline, like,
Yeah,
it's pretty dope.
like that's wild.
Was there anything else of importance in that Tucker Carlson tape interview?
I'm only 45 minutes in, and they're just talking about his philosophy, how he's like, the only thing I did wrong was tell men that they can just say no to, I don't know. I don't want to sound like I'm banging for him. I just watched it because I thought it would be something of importance.
No, well, I'm glad you did the dirty work, man. Let us know how it finishes up.
Probably with him in jail.
Yeah.
In a Russian prison. No, a Romanian prison.
That's wild. Big T, you teed off about anything, man?
Just these fucking planes, dude. Where's Mayor Pete? Show your face.
He is the head of what? Transport? What is
He's
his
the
title?
Secretary of
Transportation.
Transportation, yeah.
Have we had any statement from him or his department?
No.
Nothing.
'Cause I
And
looked.
this is the fifth or sixth major airline,
Outage.
fuck up under his watch. Granted, obviously, not all his fault. However, I mean, I don't remember there being this many previously.
I mean, I think there's been, to be fair, there's been delays and stuff in the past.
Yeah. But there's
I don't
been
know.
4 or 5 like major week-long fuck-ups. And it just keeps happening. They said it was weather. That seems to be just like patently untrue.
Yeah.
I saw some pilot or retired pilot on Twitter saying stuff that I didn't really understand about air traffic control. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on with that, but that seems to be potentially the source of all these outages. I don't know. I just want Mayor Pete to show his face.
It'd be a great time to have like someone who's obsessed with airplanes to be on the podcast, you know?
Who do you have in mind, Billy?
I don't know.
I honestly don't know what he's getting at either.
They
What?
must be
I
so
got it.
obsessed with airplanes that they probably hopped on one a little early.
Oh,
Premature hop on an airplane. Jet setting, you know? If someone who's really obsessed with airplanes like got a little money, they'd probably like do a lot of airplane stuff, right?
Yeah.
Probably, Billy. Yeah.
So true.
Oh, for those who that went over your head, he's talking about PFT.
probably flew first class.
Yeah, definitely.
With his $12
So I mean,
yogurt.
does the Secretary of Transportation ever make statements in lieu of like delays like this?
Well, so when
in the past?
Southwest had their major, like where their entire system shut down, which was their fault, like
Right.
he came out and was like, we need more, legislation, making sure that all this infrastructure is, up to par and that everybody's on a level playing field, this, that, and the other. And now that there's apparently just like no air traffic controllers or whatever the deal is, he's nowhere to be found. I just want to know where he is. Is he in South Bend? Is he in Washington? Where is Mayor Pete? Somebody show me, get me a visual on Mayor Pete. That's all I ask. I want to know if he's in the office.
Checking the opposite tabloids.
I'm out on him now. After my experience, I'm out on Pete Buttigieg.
Single issue voter?
Pete
I couldn't
Buttigieg-
vote for him. He was appointed, but
Facts. Pete Buttigieg
that was
often
bad.
flies on taxpayer-funded private jets. Flight data show.
Who
Don't
could have
love that.
guessed?
That
I'm
was a
turning
Fox
into Big
News
T
article.
slowly.
Okay, I think we've talked about this before, but data show and data shows. You know what I mean? People put data as plural.
It is technically
So-
plural.
So I know it is, but like it don't sound right to me. So
I would say
the data
shows,
says,
yeah,
the
but,
data says, but people say the data say,
but
and
that,
I hate that.
that technically
that.
is correct.
1,000% correct. I'm just saying I feel like it's elitist when you do that.
I agree.
just-
Like if you say, like if I were to say Arian's so much better at football than me, that's actually wrong. You would say Arian's better at football than I. But like if you say, because you would say better than I am. But if you say that, you sound like a piece of shit. So
Yeah.
you just say the way people say it.
Yeah, I guess I'm a little elitist when it comes to that too, in a different way. So my Siri, I have her in a British voice. It's wild. So like every time I ask Siri, you think she's British, and every time I do it around people, they're like, "What the fuck? Why is she British?" I'm like, they sound smarter to me. I don't know. They just sound so. So when I ask Siri something, it sounds more reliable coming from a British person. That may be a little elitist right there.
That's classist because the Siri British accent is posh English.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you the difference between any of the accents.
Well,
They
have
all
you
sound
heard
the
like
same to me.
Cockney or like grime rap?
It's hard for me to listen to grime rap, man. I don't keep it a butt.
Do you want to?
That shit sounds so whack to me.
Pull up with the Stanley.
He's like, "What's up, bruv?" Walking up with the, I'm just like, I can't. I respect wherever you from, and there's struggle everywhere.
Roadman.
But it's so tough for me to look at it. Like I'd be like, nah,
No, but you know
man.
what's so funny? What's so funny? I was talking to Troops, and Troops was like, "We're roadman from the road." And I was like, "What?"
Oh yeah.
And it's like they mean the streets. Like I'm from the streets. Like I'm from the road, man. The road.
cobblestone.
You almost sound Jamaican when you're saying it.
Well, there's a little of that influence.
Is that the same as like that song that was like on TikTok? It's like, how can I be homophobic? My bitch is gay. Is
Yeah,
that
that's grime rap.
Okay.
But I think that guy might be.
I don't know who sings.
There was a grime rapper who was
Rap
doing it as a joke, who then became.
Or that's Central C, isn't that?
No, is that Big Shaq? Because there was a grime rapper who was rapping as a joke that then became popular because Americans didn't understand that he was doing parody because they just heard grime.
I did find a tweet from one member of the administration about planes in the last 24 hours. You want to know what it says?
Yeah.
This is from Kamala Harris. This is her real account. I checked 4 times. The majority of domestic flights do not have accessible restrooms. This is absolutely unacceptable. Our administration will soon announce a solution to help end this inequity. I'm glad to see we're getting to the real problems with air travel.
Wait, when she says accessible, does she mean like?
I think like wheelchair, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Which, absolutely.
Thought she meant
Love.
like them shits is small, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have big T accessible restrooms on planes either. So
Hey, we don't have medium Arian ones either. I be in the plane pissing with my head sideways like this.
Oh,
bro.
it's outrageous.
I couldn't imagine how you be in that.
I will damn near piss my pants before I'll go. It has to be a dire emergency.
Yeah,
when I went to London, obviously 7 hours, I just had to at some point. I was like, fuck, this is going to suck so bad.
Sometimes I have to pee sideways. And that's much more complicated than you think.
Totally.
Okay.
Cool.
Yep.
But yeah, when I went to London is probably the only time in the last years at least that I've used a bathroom on a plane.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do it a lot because usually I drink on a plane. You get drunker. Maybe it's a myth. Is that true? It might be true. I don't know. But I be getting lit on planes.
Yeah.
It's true?
I got pretty lit watching UFC on a plane Saturday night.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's true or not. Could be. But like, yeah, I gotta do it sideways where I'm like this. Like my head, like the roof like this on the right side of my head, and I'm like this. So like I couldn't imagine. What you 6'5", 6'6"?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's a tight squeeze for you, dog.
I always
Tell me about it.
I always find them too skinny, so I turn sideways and put my leg up on like the seat cover, and then stand
skinny. No, wait, hold on, Billy.
Stand on one leg and pee sideways.
You be the reason there's pee all over the floor.
Hey, there's small bathrooms.
You know, one time I was the first one to use the bathroom on a plane, and usually, like, you know, there's pee all over the floor on a you know what I'm saying, on the bottom of the seat, and not the seat, but like, you know, the floor. And usually I'd be like, how do people miss this shit, right? And so I peed, I did my thing, and I washed my hands, and as I moved my hands to go get the little, you know, the towels, there was water dripping all over the floor, and it looked like pee, and I was like, you know what, that might be a big cause. I mean, it could be pee, but it could be a lot of, you know, drippage from the hand washing. So,
or the non-potable water.
What's that?
Did I say that wrong? You know that how it's like don't drink the water in airplanes is non-potable? Potable.
I've never even heard of either one of those.
I think it just means you can't drink it.
Hold on, are you drinking it out of the faucet?
Yeah, you're not supposed to do that. Did you do that?
Why would you do that?
No. They tell you not to do that.
Well, who would go to the bathroom to get a sip of water?
Someone who didn't want to buy water.
What the fuck? Never heard of that, dog.
I just remember like the first time I was in an airplane, just like seeing that sign and be like, what the hell does that mean?
I didn't know that there were people genuinely thinking about going to the faucet and getting water from the. That's kind of crazy, man.
Little kids.
Teach their own, man. Teach their own. All right, man. Does anybody have anything else before we hop into today's subject?
Well, you know what? It's the summer, and during the summer, I like to go to baseball games. And you know what's the best place to get your tickets for baseball games? Game Time. Game Time is created by fans for fans. Game Time is the ticketing app that makes it easier than ever to score last-minute deals on tickets to sports, concerts, and shows. And they guarantee the lowest price. Game Time is the exclusive ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. I used Game Time to watch the Yankees a couple weeks ago. Big T, when was the last time you used Game Time?
I bought tickets on Game Time either yesterday or the day before for Braves Cubs in 3 weeks. The first week I live in Chicago, all 3 games.
Amazing. Mad Dog, you see any concerts recently using Game Time?
I didn't see any concerts. I went to a Yankees game recently.
Oh, perfect.
Game Time.
Yeah, Game Time is the easiest way to get tickets to your favorite sports venues, concerts, events. It's possible with the Game Time app. The biggest last-minute price drops can be found on the seats you thought you could never buy. The purchase process takes just 2 taps and 10 seconds. And once you buy your tickets, they're delivered directly to your phone. No printer needed. The app also allows you to easily share tickets with friends via text, so you can get into the game seamlessly. Skip the hassle and enjoy the moment. With the new pitch count, games are getting sped up a little, so you need a way to buy your tickets fast so you can spend time enjoying the game. Download the Game Time app or go to the website, enter your email, and redeem code MACRO for $20 off your first purchase. That's MACRO. Download the Game Time app or go to barstool.link-Game-Time app to enter your email and redeem code MACRO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply.
All right. Appreciate you, Billy. Great ad read, man.
Appreciate it.
Today's topic is, I thought it was going to be a little more boring than when I originally started researching it, was it's chemtrails. Chemtrails, because I thought it was going to be like a one-off, but like there's a lot of stuff in here that's pretty interesting, man. So I think a good way to kick it off is, well, first, before we get into what it is, does everybody have, I want to get everybody's idea of what they thought it was blindly without researching it. What did everybody think that chemtrails were? Billy, shoot us off.
I was introduced to chemtrails. It was really the first conspiracy that introduced me to conspiracy people. There's people who think that the airplane tracks are dangerous. And in my brain, for some reason, airplanes making tracks just made sense. Because if you're moving through anything, a ship leaves a wake, a car leaves tire tracks, and an airplane leaves, those white things in the sky. And they're just airplane tracks.
What about you, Big T?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much knew what it was, the basic gist of it.
No,
I think... Huh?
Go ahead. I was going to say, like, when you heard chemtrails, like, what was the first, like, what was your introduction to what those were?
I don't necessarily remember the first time I heard it. It comes up every now and then. I feel it's a pretty wacko like when someone's trying to brand you as a conspiracy theorist, they'll throw out like chemtrails. It's like flat Earth and chemtrails.
Yeah.
But like I had a general sense of what it is.
It was an OG conspiracy theory. It was one of the first.
I think this predated like internet type vibes, because I remember when I was in middle school, so this was like, I don't know, 98-ish, 99 something. A lot of my friend group was talking about, I don't know how I got to them. I don't know where they got it from, but they were like, look at those things. That's the government flying stuff over and putting chemicals in the air. And I was like, say word? Like, what I mean? I was quick to say fuck the government back in those days. Well, still am today, but having a reason back then, I was really interested in it. And there wasn't a lot of places or sources for information. So a lot of the shit that we grew up thinking was true, there was no way to debunk it. And so for years, I actually believed this. Not to any extent where I was willing to die for it, but I just thought it was like common knowledge, like amongst, people in the know, quote unquote, that like government puts chemicals over the air. Now, what exactly those chemicals were, of course, we never got into the details of it, what the chemicals did, never got into details of that. I mean, I wasn't a skeptic to that degree back then. What's up?
Now, we'll get into it a little later after we get into chemtrails, but the government has done that. The government has put chemicals in the air, has tested weapons on its citizens, and we can get into that a little later. But the original genesis of the widespread chemtrail conspiracy, it started on early message boards, but it really got popularized by a late night radio host named Art Bell in 1999. So he had people called Richard Fink and William Thomas, who were internet forum conspiracy people, who he brought a lot of their forum thinking to the mainstream on his late night show, and that's really what started, broadcasting it across the nation.
Yeah, so that's when I first heard of it, and that's how think about how quick that shit spread, especially because those were the early days of message boards, right? Message boards weren't like social media to where it's like you have 3 or 4 main platforms and everybody kind of goes to that to see what's going on in it. Now you have your little pocket of information, a little pocket of community that you kind of vibe and stick to. And even though that was a little community, that shit made it to me in a middle school in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Um, if you wanna hop on the details of it, Billy, you can go ahead. I just have a few points that I wanna stick on, but if you wanna hop on, I know you always got bullet points and shit.
A lot of when the conspiracy was spread online, they'd use a lot of pictures of test planes. So when planes are being new models of planes are being tested, they tend to instead of using humans to simulate weight and distribution, they use water in tanks because that tends to move around much like humans do. And it's weird to say that, but for example, when a plane turns right, humans will lean with it because of the momentum, and water will kind of do the same thing. So a lot of these pictures of these test flights were used by conspiracy theorists to be like, look, these are the tanks in these look like civilian planes, but they're really filled with tanks with chemicals. But a quick research can show you that they're just testing weight imbalances on planes during a flight. I sent a picture to the group chat. Hopefully we can throw that in the YouTube. But that was a huge part of it. So Edward Snowden on the Joe Rogan podcast said that he had access to so many files to everything bad that the government was doing, and he did not find anything that indicated chemtrails were real.
Yeah, I don't remember that reference. That's dope. I think one of the ones that tipped me off, like that was like interesting and shit that I did not know previous to research this, was that they actually do in Beijing in 2008. The Chinese government did this to try to keep rain from going over the Olympics. Is they do something called cloud seeding. So cloud seeding is basically when what is the chemicals? I had it pulled up. It is silver iodide. So they fire rockets and shells loaded with silver iodide into them, and it essentially gets like moisture in the air to come together, and it makes clouds. And so they cloud seed to disperse the cloud. I don't know the 100% science behind it, but in a sense, and if you could explain it better than me, Billy, go ahead. But in a sense, that's basically what they do.
So we actually had a conspiracy that our school was cloud seeding, wild one. But apparently you can cloud seed for like $10,000. You can cloud seed individual places for weddings to make sure that the day of it's nice out. So the silver iodide gets spread by an airplane, and apparently all the moisture in the air, it like triggers. The way it was explained to me, it was like the air is pregnant with water, and the silver iodide triggers the water to be birthed onto the earth. I don't know, like
so you make it rain before you want it to not rain.
Yeah, so that it can't rain because there's no more moisture in the air. That was a really weird way that people explained it to me, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
But so it's like it's like cost effective. So we had this theory that our school was doing it on admission days because it was in this valley, and it would just be like wet and dreary for a lot of the time, and like we'd get like 5 feet of snow every winter. But then like one day in spring it would just be like shitty for 2 weeks, and then the one day it's just beautiful, and it's the same day that like admitted students get to check it out. And we were thinking that they were paying up to cloud seed.
And so like when you to a layman out there who has never heard it, because that was news to me. I didn't know anything about cloud seeding before, and I was like, that's actually wild. And so a lot of different, concoction of thoughts can come if you start from that premise that the government is controlling the weather, which in a sense is what's happening, but not really. Like they can't. Like if the government could control the weather, they would obviously stop hurricanes. And see, this is where the conspiracy mind will take you is like, well, the government is causing hurricanes, the government is causing tornadoes, the government, and so that's when it gets like really dangerous. But chemtrails. All right, so for I don't want to go off too far without us saying it's not a thing. Chemtrails are obviously what they would be classified as contrails, which is condensation in the air, which is again, the scientist I'm not a scientist, but the heat exhaustion from the plane comes out in a cool atmosphere, and it leaves that trail of condensation. Like that's what the scientific explanation is. It makes sense to me. Like I said, I'm not a scientist. Go ahead, Billy.
Contrails form as moisture in the air condenses and freezes around soot particles in jet engine exhaust. In certain conditions, contrails can spread and merge, forming thin cirrus clouds covering thousands of square miles. They can persist for hours and warm the atmosphere. So there is a global warming impact by contrails, but it's not dangerous to the people below.
Yeah, so they're saying like it is combustible engines in the air are a cause for global warming. But the actual things that they leave is not. I think there was actually an argument too from one of the articles I was reading from a science outlet was saying that even if you were to spray chemicals that high in the air, that they couldn't make their way down depending on the chemicals. But I don't think they could make their way down and affect people in the way that the conspiracy lends itself to be. But there's been study after study about these. I think one of the more popular ones was the Carnegie study. I don't know if you ran across that one. Did you run across that one? And I think it was in 2016, if I'm not mistaken. There was a Carnegie study where they took they literally went after this exact concept. They said we wanted to establish a scientific record on the topic of secret atmospheric spraying programs for the benefit of those in public who haven't made up their minds, said Stephen Davis of UC Irvine. The experts we surveyed resoundingly rejected contrail photographs and test results as evidence of large-scale atmospheric conspiracy. So it actually has been studied by a lot of people, and that is never enough for people who believe conspiracy. Well, they're always in it, but
I was looking at a Harvard study, and it's just like all the big institutions that had actually researched it. It's kind of sketchy because they are all the institutions that are sometimes the bad guys in conspiracies, be it like the Carnegies and the Rockefellers and Harvard as a whole. But It is pretty debunked. Another part of the chemtrail conspiracy is that the United States Air Force published in 1996 a report about weather modification, and that sort of included some of these cloud seeding notions. And then another impact of just people not knowing science is that contrails rather tend to look different depending on the climate of, the thousands of feet up in the air they're taking place. So sometimes some contrails will look wider than others, or they'll have different patterns, and that's totally dependent on the wind up there, the humidity, the dryness, the temperature, and it causes the contrails to take different forms. So people would see different, like they'd be like, look, that doesn't look like a regular contrail. That must be something different. That must be one of the chemical spraying planes, which would fuel the conspiracy.
Yeah.
Can I say about chemtrails, though? A lot of conspiracy theories pretty dumb. Like flat Earth, it's just not flat. Like it just isn't. Chemtrails, good conspiracy theory.
I don't think it's a bad one. That's why it was kind of intriguing to me. I'm not gonna lie.
It would behoove the government to do the things that people who think chemtrails are real are accusing them of doing.
I think and so what does it for me is I think there's more efficient ways to do it than that. Right?
Well, they control the media.
I think there's even more efficient ways.
Mind control, just do it.
Everybody showers. If you're gonna do it through our water system.
I think Alex Jones is on that. Fluoride.
There you go. That makes more sense than than doing it in the air. But what threw me for a loop was this cloud seeding thing. That really, like, if I am a conspiracy theorist, I don't know how I get past that the government controls weather. Like, I don't think they control weather. Like, they do it for different things. They can kind of push a rainstorm, like, to help droughts. They can do these kind of things, which I didn't know was possible. I had no idea. And that is a wild notion. And granted, I have not looked into that aspect of it deeply enough to make any kind of like bold conclusions. But the fact that they can manipulate matter in a way that can uh I mean, manifest weather, that's interesting. It's just an interesting thing. It's not just our government that does that. China does that. I'm sure there are many other governments that have and utilize this technology. It's fascinating. I don't know what else to say. That is a fascinating aspect to this conspiracy that blew my mind when I first started researching it.
But you know what's wild? The U.S. government has sprayed stuff on the U.S. population.
Yeah, get into that.
So the U.S. government did Operation LAC, standing for Large Area Coverage, and it was a United States Army Chemical Corps operation which dispersed microscopic zinc cadmium sulfide particles over much of the United States and Canada in order to test dispersal patterns and geographic range of chemical or biological weapons. So there were several tests that occurred where they sprayed these chemicals from C-119 flying boxcars, which if you were a plane enthusiast, you'd probably be able to give us more information about. The first one was in September 1950. 6 simulated attacks were conducted on the San Francisco Bay Area. It was concluded that it was feasible to attack a seaport city with biological aerosol agents from a ship offshore. In 1952, 5 trials were conducted off the coast of South Carolina and Georgia, and it was concluded that long-range aerosol clouds could obtain hundreds of miles of travel and large area coverage when disseminated from ground level under certain meteorological conditions. And then in 1957, they did it in the North Sea east of Britain. So they not only did it in the U.S., they did it in Britain and in Canada. And then the Army admitted to spraying in Minnesota from 1953 to the mid-1960s, and then in St. Louis in the mid-1950s. So they were spraying stuff all across the U.S. And they're saying that the risk of they say there's only anecdotal evidence that the zinc cadmium sulfide caused adverse health effects, but with a U.S. government study done by the U.S. National Research Council stated, after an exhaustive independent review requested by Congress, we have found no evidence that the exposure to zinc cadmium sulfide at these levels could cause people to become sick. Still, the use of the chemical remains controversial, and one critic accused the Army of literally using the country as an experimental laboratory. So they straight up sprayed chemicals on the U.S. throughout the 20th century.
That is news to me. That shit's news to me. So this isn't necessarily a conspiracy theory, in my opinion.
Well, it takes a kernel of truth and then extrapolates it out to more, bigger.
No, but this
ideas,
actually happened.
Yeah, to a degree.
So it's not.
That's what I'm saying. It's a good conspiracy. You could find enough evidence to, like, if you were a big time chemtrails guy, like, have these bullet points ready to go when somebody's like, you're a moron. Be like, oh, really? And list those off, and, like, you would know what you were talking about, and it would sound halfway plausible.
Yeah, do I think the government is currently doing this on any kind of wide scale or any? No. Do I know that they're not? No.
I'll tell you, I know why they're not. They can't get a plane in the air to save their lives. I would be inclined to believe it if we could get an airplane off the ground.
Say, you know what, though? Y'all can't even fly planes.
Yeah, that's how I know they're not doing it.
I'll feel you. But I'd never heard of this before. That's crazy.
Oh,
it's called Operation LAC.
Yeah.
Long area coverage.
And in 1966, the U.S. Army released Bacillus globigi into the New York City subway system as a part of his field experiment to test the vulnerability of subway passengers in New York City to covert attacks with biological agents. Yeah. They've been spraying random stuff on us for a long time. And like even when you think of stuff like the Tuskegee syphilis experiment where they literally just injected a bunch of black people with syphilis, like they've done tests on the population without any remorse. So
That's true.
Which is wild.
MK Ultra.
Yeah.
They are not above testing shit on yeah, okay, I'm struggling right now because to call this a conspiracy theory, honestly.
I think the conspiracy
because it's based in actual events.
It's a continuation theory.
I'm okay with that verbiage. Because it didn't, no pun intended, come out of thin air.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
this shit happened.
I mean, who knows?
And I think it preceded the actuation of it preceded the theory, the conspiracy theory. So it was like, yeah. Like what did you think people were gonna think? Like they caught on. And then they released all when did they release these documents?
About the LAC. I think
there's an LAC. There was Operation Do, which is the one in Georgia, I believe, in South Carolina.
Yeah. When was it declassified? It was declassified in the 90s with a bunch of stuff.
250 pounds of fluorescent particles from Minesweeper off the coast.
250 pounds of gas is a shit ton of gas. Because think about it, like gas weighs nothing.
And then they did a second one in 1953. So it was declassified in 1997.
Jeez.
Wow.
I mean, think about what they did.
And so they're saying, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's the stuff that's still classified in Mar-a-Lago. So they're saying that they came out with studies subsequently that said they didn't have any ill effects. There was no ill effects that was calculable amongst the human population. That's what they're saying. I don't necessarily find that to be, what was it? Was it lead? Yeah. There was a study that came out a while ago that was saying high levels of lead caused an increase of like erratic behavior or violent behavior, something like that. Which is an actual thing. Like this is like studied data. I mean studied science. Like, what was it?
Everyone since February 1975, when regular gasoline had to take away lead. In 1986, gasoline became completely lead-free, and there's a huge drop in generational crime after those data points.
Yeah.
Because all the kids who grew up huffing the lead in the air, they didn't have to huff lead anymore because they got rid of the lead in the gasoline. And they think that gasoline was leaded, and they actually blame a lot of like the world wars.
A lot of violence was linked to it.
So gasoline was first leaded in 1923. Okay, so after World War I. And they think that it caused a lot of people to go nuts in the 20s, and like the Great Depression resulting craziness might have been because of the leaded gasoline.
A recent investigation by Reuters found that lead exposure affects kids in communities across the country, not just high-profile cities like Flint, Michigan. This is worrisome because elevated blood levels in kids have been linked to an array of developmental delays and behavioral problems. More ominously, this could also increase crime. And so this was highly studied. I remember reading about this a while ago, but not to get into that, that's a whole topic in itself. But just to get back to how chemicals can affect people's behavior. And I'm gonna put my conspiracy hat on this one, dog. I'm wearing the tin hat on this one. I'm not so sure that, I'm skeptical of the government in general, but like this one kind of blew my mind, honestly. I'm not so sure about this one. Like, what did you call it, Big T?
Well, you
Not a
said it's not
conspiracy,
really a
it's a
conspiracy theory. I said it's a continuation theory.
continuation
You're
theory.
extrapolating from things that are true to
Yeah.
things that may or may not be true.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think that they're currently doing this. I think there's more efficient ways. And I think even the Operation LAC, I think those were just tests, right? They weren't actually harmful chemicals, were they?
Apparently.
Yeah, yeah.
But like we just found out that the burn pits in in Iraq and Afghanistan were killing U.S. troops, and they had no idea. Like,
Let's see it. Hold on. Zinc, cadmium sulfide. Zinc cadmium sulfide is a mixture of zinc sulfide. Let me put it on this screen. Why am I reading over here? Is used for fluorescent properties. Bioaccumulation of this chemical may occur along the food chain, for example, in plants and seafood. Long-term repeated exposures are expected to have harmful effects on the kidneys, bones, and respiratory tract, resulting in kidney impairment, osteoporosis, and chronic inflammation of the respiratory tract. Use Operation LAC, that's what we were talking about, was a United States Army Chemical Corps operation in 1957 and 1958, which dispersed microscopic zinc cadmium sulfide particles over much of the United States. The purpose was to determine the dispersion and geographic range of bio. Oh, so they were saying, so their argument is that because of the fluorescent of it, so that they can like kind of scan and see how and where a chemical attack
could
be vulnerable to.
Yeah.
That's their, and they use that specific chemical because of its bioluminescent traits.
Yeah, so they're trying to see if, Russia sprayed anthrax over the United States, how it would travel. So I get why they did it, but there's also
they said anecdotal evidence. So they said exists of this chemical having adverse health effects as a result of LAC. However, and this is a fucking asterisk in my book, a 1997 U.S. government study. I love when the government investigates itself, or like a police department investigates itself. That's always fun. A government study done by the U.S. National Research Council stated in part, after an exhaustive independent review requested by Congress, we have found no evidence that exposure to zinc cadmium sulfide at these levels could cause people to become sick.
Yeah.
That said, the material was dispersed at very low levels and people were exposed to higher levels in typical urban environments. So they're saying they're more exposed to them in regular environments. I mean, I would have to look at the study. I'm not going to make a determination on the fly like this. Like I said, this is all new information to me. But in the great words of the replacement of Chef Goose Cousteau, highly suspect. Shout out to Ratatouille.
There is so I was reading this Harvard study talking about their research on albedo modification. Definitely didn't pronounce that right. We work on theoretical proposals for combating global warming called solar geoengineering or albedo modification. There are technologies that might enable people to add materials to the Earth's atmosphere to reflect a bit more sunlight back to space, partially masking or reducing the climate change due to accumulated greenhouse gases. So some are saying that the government may be doing it to combat global warming, but they said we are confident there's no currently active programs to actually test or implement albedo modification outdoors. So,
yeah, this is just out my wheelhouse. I don't know enough about any of this to combat it, so this is all just new information coming at me.
Yeah.
In my fake pause, and it's just it definitely gets the wheels turning. I'd have to look. I'm gonna look deeper into the study, the 1997 government study that says there's no adverse effects that they found.
I think if the government was really trying to kill us through chemicals, I think there would be a much better application method than spraying it like thousands of feet in the air.
I'll give you a real conspiracy
theory. What would
theory.
be a good way to get people to ingest chemicals that might kill them? Like a really direct way.
I don't know that that's
like
ever been tried.
Tip of the spear.
I'll give you a real conspiracy theory. The chemtrails conspiracy theory in quotation marks was started by the government to, as you said, Arian, have people, hey, look over here while I'm doing the card trick over here. And they're putting shit in the water and maybe in other things that they get the entire media apparatus of the country to tell people that they have to get or they're going to die.
Talk that anti-vax talk, man.
I'm just that could be if you
Talk
were to
Andrew,
create a conspiracy theory.
Talk that Andrew Wakefield shit, dog. Talk that Andrew Wakefield shit, dog.
I don't know who that is. I'll have to look into him.
He's the dipshit that started the
first
conspiracy
guy.
that vaccines cause autism.
Okay, don't no.
His study is fraudulent. Read it. It's like very short.
I'm looking at
Very
him right
short.
now.
Arian, you won't debate RFK Jr.
I absolutely would.
Oh,
I
you would?
1,000% would.
RFK, come on the podcast. Debate Arian, please.
I'm down. I would have to spend the next like month researching, because the one thing I do give him is he's very well read on his bullshit. Absolutely. But
Go do numbers.
yeah, absolutely.
I also
I would absolutely be down.
I also want to ask him about falconry, because turns out he's really big into falconry.
Are you?
I recently got
Yeah, he's
involved
been
in some
banging for this.
falconry.
He's been banging this falconry drum for a while now.
Coming
What is
soon.
it? You just like fowls in general, or like what is
Falcons.
falcon is a fowl, isn't that?
Oh,
It's not a fowl.
actually, that's a good point. Like,
Is it? I thought that was just chickens. Is that?
yeah, no,
Other-
fowl.
I could be wrong. I don't know enough.
I don't know. I have no
A
idea.
falcon's a raptor. A falcon's a raptor, but
I've only heard chickens referred to as fowl.
and ducks are foul.
Really?
Turkeys are foul.
Oh, okay.
Turkey foul.
Yeah, those are all in the same category-ish.
Yeah. Lowland foul. So do we have any voicemails?
No, not this week.
Oh, no voicemails.
You can keep going. I don't. Did you just? You want to be done?
I'm not short circuit.
That was a rather abrupt
Yeah,
end.
I think we can.
We're
keep
lost
going.
without the plane, man.
Okay. I think you can just keep going for a little bit longer.
So chemtrails.
I had literally not even heard about this before this.
Me neither.
Like when you said that in the group chat, I was like, I don't even know what that is.
You guys have never heard of chemtrails?
No.
No.
That's
This-
pretty crazy. Actually.
How did you never hear of chemtrails?
I don't know.
So wait, Chemtrails Over the Country Club. What do you think that was about?
What's Chemtrails Over the Country Club?
The
Yeah,
Lana Del Rey album?
Oh,
Oh.
no, I don't know.
Oh, you guys
Well, I
are.
was gonna say I don't know what that is either.
I was like, over the country
still
club
don't
that
know
I
what
go
that is.
to? Like, are you calling me like white?
No,
Like,
no,
what's
no.
that?
you guys aren't true lunatics.
I am not a true.
I'm not. I never.
I'm not a
claimed
true
to be.
lunatic.
Yeah.
That's
Taystway got these girls basically
oh my god.
What?
not listening to
Taste
real music.
Do you mean Taylor Swift when you say that?
Yeah.
Sorry, I is that an?
I have
one of-
nothing against her.
No, I don't. I don't know why.
The fact that you don't know Chemtrails Over the Country Club is pretty telling.
I didn't say it was.
I think that's shots at the lunatics.
I'm sorry, lunatics. I didn't mean for that.
I think if you're a lunatic, that these Taystway fans are disrespecting her discography. What if I just cause a war
So-
between the Lana Del Rey fans and the Taystway fans?
Why you keep saying
Why you saying
Taystway?
Because isn't that what you call her?
T Swift, maybe?
I feel like Lana Del Rey fans are like chill. Like they wouldn't. They were like, yeah, we have no beef. Like they would just not care.
Do they have like a cult following like this Swifties?
I don't
and
think
the-
so.
Lana Del Rey. I mean, she's got fans. She's got a lot of
Lunatics.
fans.
and
I like
but
her.
I don't think they like the Swifties or even like the Bayhives.
No,
That's
definitely
a different
not.
level. Or like what are they, the Barbs?
Yeah.
Nicki
Oh yeah,
Minaj is
Nicki
like-
Barbs.
you know what I'm
Those
saying? Yeah.
they're crazy.
I've never heard of a lot of Del Rey fans being on any of that kind of level.
No, not at
No,
all.
not at all.
Billy's apparently leading the front.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's me.
Billy
you-
talks about Lana Del Rey more than any single person I know talks about
The
Lana
bro
Del Rey.
king.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm the bros for Lana.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make that button
Start a Facebook group.
Niggas still wear buttons.
Yeah, like a budding women for Trump, bros for Lana.
Yeah.
Do people still wear buttons? Is that
Yeah,
still-
like around voting season, like weird election people.
And like I see people put them on their tote bags. And stuff.
SEC football games, sororities big into the
Oh,
buttons.
that's
Yeah.
so true.
Really?
That
Oh
is
yeah.
true.
Katie loves the tie.
Yep.
or
They
Katie
all say
loves
the exact
balls.
same thing. Yeah.
With different with their
Insert
names?
sorority loves the insert school you go to.
Wow.
Interesting.
Katie loves the Tigers.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever worn a button. Now that I'm thinking about it.
We should make buttons.
Macrodosing buttons.
Mm.
Someone made us some actually because I have one pinned on my desk that's
Oh,
the
it's-
Enron logo
It's probably
that we made, the macro Enron logo.
Foster
Some-
commenter.
Someone made me
24.
someone made us all buttons.
Zach Riddle, maybe.
Yeah.
He does them for Erica too.
Wow, buttons are kind of wild when you think about it. I've never just thought about buttons. Like,
Oh, I thought a lot about buttons. Stabby. Stab.
Whoa.
what, bro?
Okay, hang on. Everybody stop. I want to dig into both of what y'all just said because they're both very interesting to me. First, I want to know, Arian, what you meant when you said buttons are really interesting.
I mean, think about like, it's like a clothespin on a little piece of metal with a paper over it, and it's just like a wild thing to put together to show, like, I guess, support or something. I don't know. I've
Yeah, I
never
mean, it's
worn
an accessory.
Yeah, like I just never have thought to, hey, I'm gonna wear a button. I've
It's-
just never. It's an interesting thought to wear a button.
A button is the hat of the shirt.
Yes.
Now this conversation is making me realize why some people think that we maybe ingest 3 before we record this show.
Stabby.
Yeah, now I want to
Back
get to
to
what
that.
you said. Can you elaborate
to
upon
that.
that?
My first memories of buttons is accidentally stabbing myself somehow with them. Like trying to put them on my t-shirt.
Would you say stabby
Yeah.
immediately
No.
afterwards?
No, just my brain, like, word association.
It just went
Buttons.
there.
Stab.
Double it up though.
Stab.
Stabby.
Stabby.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that.
No, because it's
Ever.
I thought it was a reference I didn't understand. But
No, I
he
just, like-
said stabby.
like, I stabbed myself. I just remember that's what buttons do. They stab your fingers, stab your chest.
I remember that part about buttons.
Yeah,
'Cause I remember
stabby.
oh, no. I remember my mom used to have buttons, and I remember me always like taking like the first like layer of skin and piercing it and then buttoning it up. You know what I'm saying? Or was that just me?
I would do it to my cuticles.
Yeah, like dead skin, like on the sides or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like I would do that a lot.
Or put a
To the
needle
button.
through your heel.
Like not about through, but like the dead part of the skin.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Or someone else would try to put a button on you and accidentally stab you.
Nah.
Then you'd be bleeding.
Or like prom, like the corsage.
Oh,
That those are
the
like
boutonniere.
hard. Yeah.
yeah.
Boutonniere was tough work.
Mm-hmm.
Boutonniere sounds like way more cool than it actually is.
Yeah.
Like, oh, go get your boutonniere. But it's just like a flower.
Yeah.
Hey, are any of y'all big on dream interpretations?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was having crazy dreams.
Do you know about them?
So
So like if
why
I
don't we
tell you I
Google
had
it?
a dream, could you tell me?
I'll Google it for you.
All right, so I had a wild fucking dream last night, dog. And so y'all know I'm expecting, right? So I'm not, but you know,
Yeah.
We're expecting.
this year, yeah, we're expecting.
My aunt got fucking pissed when she heard someone say that.
That we are
because-
expecting.
Yeah, because she was like, I'm like, when I was having a kid, I was having the kid. Like, I was having the kid. It was
I
me.
I feel you. I don't feel none of that shit.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
real about that
No,
shit.
she just freaked out about it recently, and I was just like,
that
whoa.
shit. That shit looks painful, bro. I
Yeah.
don't knock her. But so I was with the shorty, and we're at somebody's house, and my brother used to stay there. And all of a sudden, she's like probably a month and a half, 2 months out from delivering, right? In real life, and in my dream, I assume it was the same thing. And so it was way premature. She just goes into labor, and she goes into labor like maybe it took 30 seconds, and the baby comes out. And I'm just like, she starts having pains, and she starts, and I ask, "Are you having contractions?" And as she's laying down and I'm asking that the baby's sliding out, and I'm like, yo, it's wild, right? But then the baby comes out, yo, and this nigga starts walking.
I wasn't prepared for this.
Bro, this shit, I was scared as fuck. So the baby comes out, I'm holding it, and then I put it down, and it just gets up and it starts walking. And I was like, hey, yo, might have been the scariest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Okay. So,
I had no idea what to make of it. I don't know what it means. I don't know if it means anything. That shit's scary, though.
Maybe it means your baby is gonna be like really smart, like really ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
the only thing I could find
be.
is
Or an
dreaming.
alien.
So this is submitted to a Hindu blog. I keep dreaming. Keep dreaming my wife is giving birth, and he says it means that new beginnings and your luck will change. You will be able to come out difficulties. There will be increase in income. Oh, increase in income. It'll also be a sign that you will forgive and you'll be able to solve differences with family members. That's from the Hindu blog.
I'm uninterested in any of that except for the increase of income.
I keep having
Fuck all that shit.
I keep having dreams that like I get like, oh, I had this one dream where you know how you don't know how you get there in dreams?
Yeah, that's frustrating.
Yeah, but like you don't remember how the dream begins. Well, the dream began with a police officer knocking on my window. And I was in a car and I was in the driver's seat. And the police officer was like, you're under arrest. You're intoxicated. And I was like, what the fuck? And I just had this crazy anxiety. And then I woke up. And I was like, thank God that was
I can see that. Yeah, don't drink and drive, man.
Yeah.
No.
But
Sometimes
I
I
don't.
wake up like having to double check, like check my phone, like, okay, wait,
That didn't
was
happen.
that real? Like sometimes they're so like serious.
Another one, I was accused of murder.
Oh no.
Actually, this is common, like being accused of crimes that I don't remember doing because the dream starts with just getting accused of it.
Yeah, what's
And then I wake up like, I didn't do that.
Right.
Fuck.
Maybe you have, bro.
No, I haven't done any crimes.
All right, man.
Dreams where
Hard pivot, but while we've been recording, remember we were talking about Margot Robbie earlier? There's apparently been a currently ongoing debate on Twitter. Several people have been calling Margot Robbie mid. And so there's people are going back and forth either staunchly defending the take that she is mid or that she's really hot. I just found that interesting. Not mid.
I
that really
agree.
Not
suck
mid.
for Margot Robbie.
Disagree.
You think Margot Robbie's mid?
I do.
That's
I don't think she's an ugly woman, but like I don't look at her like you like now your jaw's on the floor, though. Like I don't look at her like that.
But you said mid.
Yeah, I think she's like I said. I don't think mid does not mean bad. So,
I know.
mid is
No,
some of
I'm
the
with
best
you. I'm
reading.
with
Mid
you on
is-
this. I think we've talked
Alright.
about this. Like
Yeah.
people say mid to mean bad. It doesn't mean bad. It means mid. But she's not mid.
Hold on, who says mid to mean bad? No.
Most people.
Mid is not
No,
bad.
that mid
Most
when
people don't know where that comes from. Mid is like the middle. It's like it's
I
a
agree.
five.
right, but mid is used to cut down because it's when it's used to cut down stuff that people think are good.
Yeah, when people say mid, they mean it sucks.
Understood. Well, whatever verbiage we're gonna use, I don't think she's an ugly woman. No, I think she's a pretty woman. It's just not. It's nothing that I would like never like you like on some top 5 alive, and I don't think so.
10 for sure.
If you're being accused of something you didn't do,
Certainly 10.
You found the Indian blog.
yes.
What they-
This one
what
actually is
they talking about?
dreamdictionary.com. If you're being accused of something you didn't do, seems to be reflecting some aspect of your walking life that you are feeling wrongfully judged, blamed, or guilty about. The main objective of these dreams would be for you to reflect in what areas you are feeling blamed for no reason. Yeah.
that-
Workplace environments where some underlying accusation that falls under the radar.
Yeah.
Does this ring a bell?
Billy-
Am I being falsely accused
Billy
of
always
something
getting
in work?
blamed for shit.
Yeah.
Billy always getting blamed for
Yeah.
shit, man.
That's actually true. Sweet.
That's hilarious.
All right.
Well, shit, man. Has anybody got anything else, man? I know it's a little short episode, but we missing El Capitan today. But anybody got anything else?
Oh man, wrongfully imprisoned. Dream meanings.
You'll be all right. All right, gang. That it?
I believe so. Please continue to share the pod, like the pod, comment on the YouTube. Oh my
big
God.
announcement. Big announcement. If you are listening to this right now, sorry to interrupt, but if you're listening to this right now, the Macrodosing, the first Macrodosing official hat is being released.
Right now.
Store.barstool.com.
It's out.
We have
out.
white and navy. Are they both of those?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And
The
they're sick.
white's good. The navy is really sick.
There you go.
It's the only way Macrodosians will be able to recognize you and know you're dosing.
I really like them.
There you go. We'll cop that. The hat of the hats.
Yeah, the hat for your head instead of the hat of the shirt.
That shit was an all-time fucking take right there. But yeah, man, go cop that. Continue to like, share, subscribe on the YouTube. Still trying to get to 100K. So much love. Next week, I think I'm gonna be out Monday. PFT gonna be back though. Good vibes, positive vibes. Love y'all. If you're murdering people out there, stop. So peace.
DM if you knew like any plane guy that would have really been missed on this show, just DM them being like, hey, they really needed a plane guy today.
Or don't.
Totally.
Peace.